Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Jarod, and this is my podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Right now, we got Thomas Fujii here with us. So, yeah, I guess to start the whole thing out, Thomas, if you would just kind of share um, your journey, real estate journey, how you got into it,
Okay.
and just your background on that.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your podcast, Jared. I'm
Of course.
thankful and honored to participate on it. So thank you so much. So I guess my
Mhm.
journey started uh, back in late 2019, actually late 2018. Actually,
Awesome.
um, it all started when my dad passed away. So I inherited a condo that he had,
Mm,
and I renovated it, did a full renovation on it and sold it and made a triple digit return on it. So didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anything about fixing and flipping. I've heard about it, and watched some of it on TV, but actually doing what's all involved, no idea what to do. So I just jumped in, started taking massive action on it, and just went with the flow, right? So
yeah.
learned a lot of things and learned a lot of things not to do, right? But
Yep.
it's part of the
Yeah.
process. How are you not going to learn from your mistakes to help you move forward? So, yeah, I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for that. And uh, from that, I invested into myself and learning how to do fix and flips, what systems I needed, what processes I needed to have, scope of works, or scopes of work, however you want to say
Mm,
it, and doing a repair estimate of the actual project, and having documents for the contractor and all this stuff. And from there, I uh, started dealing with the pandemic. Right, so
yep.
that organization is the Fortune Builders Mastery, and it's with Dan Merrill and Paul and JD Asajian.
Okay.
They had a program on A&E back in the day called Flip This House,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
right? So they have their fix and flip education system that I bought into, and that's what I invested myself in, and met a lot of people. Um, Helped a fellow Fortune Builder Mastery student with his flip out in Chicago in your area. His name
Yeah.
is Jean. He likes to go by Jean, but um, I lent to him in second position for one of his flips. And then during networking, I met a really good friend of mine now named Rick and had an opportunity to learn how to do land development. So I bought 90% of some land with him and his wife, and we bought an entitlement land development project. So it was for sale from his mentor for about $480,000, and we bought it at 240. So we bought it at a 50% discount,
That's crazy.
and all the permits were approved. Builder was on site with other plots with the same plans being built up, and uh, yeah, we all our money partners pulled out because they didn't want to deal with the increasing prices of the materials and everything. So we decided to sell off, and we sold it at 480, and we doubled our money. So
That's crazy.
that's basically my experience so far. And and I also joined Sub Two. So
Mhm.
someone I know from the Fortune Builders joined Sub Two as an original Sub Two mentee, and he reached out to me, and I'm very grateful for Chris to bring me into Sub Two so I can learn the creative side of real estate and get that side going. So I joined, and one thing led to another. I had an opportunity to join the Gator side of the community, so I became a Gator, and from there, I became an Alpha Elite Gator. So now I have the capabilities to help investors out with hard money loans. So I'm an affiliate with Alpha Gator or Alpha Funding,
Mm-hmm.
which helps investors with hard money loans. So I'm an affiliate with that. And I've been focusing on small business bridge loans with my friends that I've built relationships with. So I've been doing that and being a connector for investors that need funding for their projects. And I'm looking for lenders that are looking for borrowers. So I'm being the connector between the two.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And that's my journey so far. And I am working on my first creative deal. And yeah, that's pretty much my journey so far.
Heck yeah, awesome. It's funny because most people talk about their first deal, and it's like a learning experience is like the most they get from it. And
Yeah, yeah.
like you made a lot of money on your first couple deals. They were home runs. So congratulations on
Yeah.
that.
Well, thank you. I'm really grateful for those opportunities that presented themselves. You know, I guess I was at the right place at the right time with the right person.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, the passing of my father also helped out. Unfortunately, you know,
Yeah.
I wish he was still here, but unfortunately, he succumbed to his issues that he had,
Yeah.
and now he's not suffering anymore. So I'm very thankful for that, and I know that he's in God's hands with the rest of my family. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful for that.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your dad and everything.
Yeah,
But
no
I'm sure
worries.
seeing where you're at now and what you did with the property and stuff, you'd be pretty proud to see what you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, I was grateful to find a really good realtor, and she was based out in Orange County, California, at a real estate auction house, and she uh, opening weekend we got 19 offers in
Dang,
opening weekend,
that's great.
and set the highest ARV for the condominiums in that area, and we got the highest bid at 390.
Dang.
Cash deal closing in 10 days with no contingencies. So yeah, I betted my eyes twice and said yes.
That's
Right.
crazy.
So
A lot different.
after the commissions and everything, I made 265,000.
That's insane. That's so much. Yeah, that's a lot better than my first deals. My first deals, I sat around and waited, like, is this going to work? And I had to wait for 6 months for him to sell. So much
Hey,
stress. But no,
everything's a learning experience. It's not really the
yeah,
dollar amount; it's the experience that you gain.
yep, 100%.
That's how I see it. You know, and it's a learning experience. So knowing what I know now from back then, you know, I was giving that general contractor some cash to help out with other things with his team, you know, which is a no. I didn't have any contracts between me and the contractor. I didn't have a scope of work. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. You know, now it's like, okay, you need to fill this out. Here's my scope of work. These are the materials. These are the prices of everything, you know. And if you're done, uh, and here's a bonus, you know, that I'll offer you to get it done early, right?
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'll be doing in the future since I didn't do that on that one, you know. So
Yeah.
it's all learning, you know, and what to implement on their next adventure.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds like you learned a lot.
Yeah,
Learned a lot, made a
everybody does, you know.
lot. Yeah. Cool. So I guess another question that I would have for you is what is like your biggest motivation when it comes to building your empire or whatever you're planning on doing with your real estate journey? Is it the
My
freedom? Is it
realistic,
money?
um, it's I don't see it really that way. I see it as playing with friends in a big sandbox,
Oh, cool.
right?
Unique
Uh,
answer.
it's not it's not really a job. It's something that I like to do and have fun with, especially when I've developed these relationships with individuals that it's a safe area to play in,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And once that's developed and you have that trust with everybody in that circle, then you can play unlimitedly and not worry about the money that's going to be made. What's you're going to be doing here? What's this going to happen over here? It's it's a safe place to play.
Yeah.
We're playing. So so to answer that question, my journey is to uh, continue on learning land development with my friend Rick. Um, as far as my family, I have two kids: Tristan, who's 4 years old, Abby, who's 6 years old, and my wife Maggie. And my goal is to have a residential multifamily for each child,
Nice.
separate in a separate LLC, so they have something when they grow up, and I'll manage it in the meantime through a property management company.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so get them taken care of on something like that, and then as far as me and my wife start building up, you know, creatively single families, residential multifamilies, and eventually, or even now, a commercial multifamily that's within grasp creatively.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
So with those, so you said you'd have a apartment complex for each kid.
that's on the goal side. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that something that you would look to like pass down, or is that something that is just a number that you would like to hit as far as like number of apartment complexes go?
Um, minimum to start.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
So, I mean, it all depends on what the opportunity comes about. If it's like a 10 unit apartment,
Hmm.
then if the entry point fits what I'm trying to do, then I go with that limiting word try.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm working towards, then, one of the kids will get it. And then when I come up with another one, the other child will get it. So it all
Awesome.
depends on what I find and if it's a good deal or not.
So you
So,
basically you have goals bigger than just yourself. You're
right,
looking, yeah, towards helping the family and other people. That's
right.
cool.
It's that financial family legacy, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. It's a really good
So,
one. Really good one to
yeah.
have.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I feel like that's a lasting one too. Like so many people just have like the money in their eyes, like how much they can make, what they can do with it, and everything. And when it takes so long to get to that point where you can do those things, then you kind of lose like that dream kind of fades because it's taking too
Yeah.
long. But if you have a bigger picture that involves your kids and family and stuff like that, I feel like that's something that's going to last. So
Yeah, exactly. And the way I kind of see it is, you know, one step forward is progress, right? It may be
mhm.
a little step, but it's still a step forward for what you're working towards, And if you're
Yeah,
just standing still, you're not really taking action, right? And if you're
100%.
not taking action, it's kind of regressed.
Yeah. So
You're kind of going
how do you
backwards,
view
right?
failure? Do you view failure as a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I see it as a good thing.
Okay.
There's like on that my first flip on that condo that my dad left me. I was failing, not to the point where I'm losing money or anything like that, but there was things I failed in, and now I know not to go that route and have things in to use in that process now.
Yep.
So I see failure as a good thing because you learn from it. It's not a hindrance or a limitation. I see it as progress.
Definitely.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Mark Rober. He's a
I
YouTuber.
haven't.
Okay,
No,
so he's
I
like
haven't.
a scientist, YouTuber,
Okay.
like does all these experiments. But he does a TED talk where he talks
Okay.
about failure and progress, and he
Mm,
goes into like explain how when we were kids, we're taught that like failure is a good thing. Like when you're learning to walk, like if you stand up
mhm.
and fall right back down, you're like, oh, good job, like you got up, but you fell, but you still got up. And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the next step. Every time we're like encouraging them every time they fail, and then once we get into school, and nothing against teachers or anything, but when you get into school and you take a test and you fail and you get in trouble for it, well, then it starts to condition us to just start fearing the failure. And
Hmm.
he does some interesting experiments too, where he like correlates different like little tests and stuff that he shares. It's a really good
Yep.
video, but
Yeah,
basically just
yeah,
explains the only way to succeed is by failing.
yeah.
But
That sounds like a good one to watch, and
Yeah.
and to kind of live by,
It's called the Super
But
Mario,
it's just
if you want
right, eating that mushroom to get bigger,
to. Yeah.
right?
Maybe you shouldn't eat
Wing.
too many mushrooms in order to invest in real estate, but you
Right?
might not make very good decisions.
Yeah.
No magic mushrooms.
Uh, but yeah, I one of my friends that I met through my journey so far, his name's Dusty Staub. He's also been on TED Talks before, and he's really big about courage. You
Mhm.
know, so not only failing, but having the courage in your journey is also very helpful.
Yeah,
And it's something that everybody I feel needs to kind of overcome and have the courage to do things, having those very difficult conversations with business partners or family members or your spouse or whatnot,
yeah,
um, also helps along with your journey is having that courage.
definitely. If you don't have the courage, then you're never going to do anything.
Yeah,
especially,
exactly.
especially
Right.
knowing that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have that courage, you're limiting yourself, right?
Yeah,
You're fearful, right? So, I mean, and if you're fearful of doing this, you're not going to do anything because you're so fearful. Fearful of failure. You're just going to stay back where you are and not do anything, not go anywhere, and have that specific mindset. You know.
yeah. That was one of the biggest quotes that I can't remember if I have a picture hanging on my wall, and I think it says. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying I think. um, but it's one of my favorite quotes. Getting started was feel the fear, but do it anyway. I know I had it on my background on my phone too, but I'm pretty sure I bought a piece of artwork that I had hanging on my wall initially that said "Feel
Right.
the
Right.
fear, do it anyway." So I'll
Oh,
send you a
see,
picture.
one thing that I learned about fear is I don't know if I've mentioned this to you in our short conversations offline, but I love sport bike riding and racing.
Oh, cool.
And uh, when I was racing, there was a guy named Kenny, and his question was, "How come you're not going faster?" Well, I don't want to
Mhm.
crash.
Yeah,
I'm fearful of crashing. Well, how do you know you're going to crash? Well, I don't. Well, then why don't you go faster then? So it's that fear of that, what could happen. It's that what if, you know,
mhm.
and once you figure out that what if and that fear, just step over it. It's just one of those hurdles that you need to learn to jump over,
Yeah.
right? And eventually I got over that fear, and what helped me break that fear is crashing. But it kind of it hurt, but I learned what not to do, and it helped me go faster. So when I recovered and fixed up my super bike, I was going faster.
So you took
And
a pretty
now I
hard
know.
fall.
I'm sorry.
So you took a pretty hard fall then if you messed up your bike.
Yeah, I had a nice high side, and I was pitched off the bike sideways. But
Oof.
yeah, I learned the limitation of the physics of the motorcycle and what to do and to push it harder and what to do as your position on the bike and everything so I can go faster and
Yeah.
everything like that. So it's kind of like it aligns with, being an entrepreneur, not just in the real estate space, but anything that you're working on, is
Yeah.
figure out how to jump over that hurdle and have that systems and process in place so you know how to do it. And yeah, you may trip over that hurdle, but now once you do, you know what you need to do to get over that hurdle without tripping over it and taking a chinner or a face plant or whatever.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, we're already pretty much answering a lot of the questions I have.
Yeah,
So
no worries.
yeah, I guess we pretty much answered almost all of them. But no, that's cool. So what are your next steps, you think, as far as like your real estate? I guess you probably answered that one too.
Well, for right now, one thing I'm working on learning more is underwriting.
Oh yeah.
Right. So um, doing some small business bridge loans and helping out with being as a connector between borrowers and lenders. I need to learn how to underwrite deals to make sure it's a good deal when it comes
Mhm.
through and not just wing it, you know. So I'm in the process of studying for the top tier underwriting,
Oh, awesome.
and so I can learn how to do this more accurately and understand what this is and what that is and everything like that. So um, watching one of the videos was with Jamil and Bo talking about comping, and it
Yeah.
kind of clicked on how do you look for an ARV in your particular market that you're looking at and working in, and that kind of shows you where what the ARV is, you know. So their
Mhm.
example was 63% of the ARV, and Jamil was hitting it within $1,000, you know. And it's one thing I didn't recognize until I watched that video, you know. How are they
Yeah.
getting this, you know? And then he's like, yeah, you do this and you do that, and this is what people are buying at the discounted of, you know,
Yeah.
ARV 63%, 65%, or whatever. So yeah, it's good stuff to learn. Good stuff to learn.
Yeah. Awesome.
How about yourself? What's your step in the future?
Um, I guess really my my goals, I guess, are just to basically just get freedom. Um, obviously the money is awesome too, but I want to give back and then build like that personal freedom. Is kind of what I'm looking for. Um, but my main thing is I want to have purpose. So purpose is a big driver
Purpose.
for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very people talk about purpose.
Really?
You know, everybody that I talk about, yeah, I have this, I want to reach this amount of money, you know, I want to have so many doors, da da da. Very few people talk about purpose. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So pretty much, I want to build passive income so that I don't
Right.
have to work anymore.
Okay.
But that was my initial goal, I guess. So I did
Right.
that, and then was basically felt like I was retired for a while. And then you kind of get bored, and it's like, okay, what do I do now? Then it's like, okay, I just need to buy more, so I have more than just enough to get by. And then so I started doing that, and then it was always like it, working towards the next step gives you purpose. So you always want to find like another mountain to climb. Um, but I've also thought like the ultimate goal, like I said, is to be able to retire and then travel the world is what I really want to do. Um, but with that, it's like, what's the point of me traveling the world? Like, am I gonna just go look at the beautiful views and go on hikes? Like, I feel like that's gonna be unfulfilling after a while.
Hmm.
So I want to give back somehow. So initially, one of my thoughts was like, I want to see the different continents. So I started giving some money to a place called the Water Project that like built wells and stuff for people in Africa.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
kind of like my thought was I could go to that place in Africa, eat the food, experience the like traditions and stuff, and then also go like fund a project where we build a well for a village
Right.
and spend like the
Right.
time with them. And then I can see them be happy, and that makes me happy and gives me purpose. And then
Hmm.
basically figure out where I want to go next, fund that project there, whatever it is, if it's a well, if it's housing, whatever, and then go there, travel, see the stuff I want to see, but then also help people. So,
Right. Right.
um,
Well, that's cool. No,
yeah,
that's a good definition of purpose, and I think because you're actually wanting, not needing, to help others,
yep,
and you're thinking more on a worldly picture instead of a little piece here, a little bit here. You know, that's awesome. Thank you
yeah,
for sharing.
yeah, no problem. There's a guy that I follow. I actually went to it's called the Clever Summit. It was in Las Vegas a couple of years
I was
ago.
there. I
Were
was
you
there.
really?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
So you saw Cole Hatter talk about like the for purpose business.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I remember. I remember it, but exactly, I haven't really um, revisited it But yeah,
Yeah, that had a huge impact on me. I was like, man, this is awesome. So basically,
right.
me and my friend, we just bought this flip together. It's one of our first ones together, and we want to give back with the funds from this. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I invest in mobile homes. So I can tell you more about it when you interview me or whatever. But
Right.
we do want to give a mobile home away for free to somebody like a veteran or something
Right.
in need
Well, that's cool.
of giving back. So yeah,
That's cool. Um, what I kind of like to do is uh, I help out the youth for our future.
yep, it's an important
And
thing.
what I mean by that is I help the Boy Scouts and the girls that are involved in the Boy Scouts earn merit badges.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm a merit badge counselor for like 9 different merit badges.
Oh,
So when I'm not doing that, I'm helping those that are in the real estate space that they're stuck in with a certain thing that I know or familiar with how to do it. I help them out. As far as on a world level, I haven't gotten there yet. But um, for right now, working in the community that I live in is sufficient for right now with my capabilities for right now.
yeah. So is that a
So
goal of yours to get like more and more impact in that area, like to reach more and more people?
yeah, yeah, and one way to do that is help those preserve their family legacy, right?
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because my on my dad's side, my grandmother and my dad both never really talked about their past, right? And I mentioned this offline earlier today, where I learned how to do oral history interviews for
Hmm.
my master's degree in history, and I had an opportunity to finally interview my grandmother, and she was born out in Colorado back in 1917 to Japanese immigrants that came from Japan.
Oh wow,
And she died back in 2014. And in 2012, I was able to capture her life story.
that's
And I
awesome.
learned a lot from her stories and everything. Um, and I want to help those that want to capture their lives or their uh, family legacy through oral narrations and experiences and pass it down to generations in their family.
Yeah, that's
So
cool. Isn't
that's
it?
that's one thing that I'm working on.
Yeah, isn't it funny how you can like know someone for a long time and then you don't really know their true story until you like sit down intentionally and like ask more about it, like something
Yeah,
like this kind of.
yeah, man, it's surprising. What I learned from my grandmother is when she was like 9 or 10, her mom committed suicide, and my great, I guess, yeah, great grandfather in that side of the family, my grandma and her siblings and her dad were pushed out of Idaho at the time, and because he hit a child
Hmm.
in their car, she ran out in the street chasing a ball apparently,
Oh man.
and my grandfather hit her in the car, and she passed away. And instead of seeking legal action, the community shooed them out. Banned them from the community, so they moved to Los Angeles.
Wow, that's crazy.
And she was also in Pearl Harbor at the time of the attack. So, you know, sitting down and with somebody, you learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And growing up, I'm like, where are the pictures at? I want to see pictures of the family and all this stuff, and they never showed me, until after my dad passed away. I found the treasure trove of all these pictures of the family and everything like that. I'm just like, wow, I'm just mind blown, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, sitting down with somebody and having a conversation about their experiences is you'll learn a lot of stuff. You'll learn a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely. Cool. Awesome. Um, Was there anything else you wanted to add? I get we answered all my questions. I guess one more thing is that the things
Yeah.
that you're doing is a little bit different than like traditional real estate, because you're a gator lender. Do you want to talk about kind of what you do there? And then also you mentioned earlier that you like fix people up with lenders. So how does
Right.
that all work? And has it
Okay.
been good for you? And are you going to keep doing it, or are you just using that to raise capital, or what's going on there?
Well, right now, in the space I'm in right now in my business is my good friend and mentor in the land development space. We are building revenue right now, so we can go on to our next journey together. And so, what I've been doing is helping my friends with small bridge loans that they need help out with and get a little return and cross collateralizing things to back up the money I help them out with. Um, so that's one of the areas I'm doing. I just fell into place. You
So
know,
how do
I
you
think
make money on that?
like 20% roughly or more,
Awesome.
right? So um, my friend Rick has a fishing business, and out in San Diego, he moved to Florida, needed help repairing and getting the boat in San Diego ready for sale. So I helped him out with that, and we discussed about 20% annualized for 3 months. And then if it went out to 12 months, I'd double my money back. So I helped him out with 30 and got 12 grand back because he went 6 months.
Nice.
So um, my friend Tyson has a wellness center out here in Las Vegas, and well, at the time it was about 4.5 months old. He needed money to help with advertising and helping with the contracted nurses that he's bringing in. And I'm getting a little money back from there. But I'm also using a property he has in Arkansas for a deed of trust. So in case something happens, I pull the trigger on that, and I have a tear down ready to go to build a single family home ready to go. So cross collateralized on that. So that's one area. All these just fell into place just by having conversations. Hey Tyson, what are you working on? Da, da, da. Well, Tom, what are you working on? Well, I'm doing this. I'm helping my friends out. I have about this much I can help out with. What do you need help with? Oh, well, dude, I need this. I can do this. Well, that's one thing led to another. So I'm helping them out with a
That's
little bit
awesome.
of money for a return and have a property that we're going to JV on after this is done and build a single family home out in Arkansas. And same thing with my friend Rick. Hey, Tom, I moved to Florida. I need to get rid of the boat, out in San Diego. I need about this much, and all right, no problem, Rick. Done. Let's draw up some paperwork and let's get it signed and we'll get it wired over as soon as we can.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it's all about relationships. It's these people I've known for over a year and a half, 2 years, and I've built trust with them, and I know them personally. I've done business with them before, so I feel comfortable to help them out.
Yeah.
As far as being a connector between an investor borrower with an investor lender is I just start having conversations with people, go through the real estate channels on Facebook, and kind of start having conversations with people. So
Yeah.
right now I have I'm just going to say a client now out in Idaho who I have helped out once already. He's been featured in Bigger Pockets. He
Nice.
has a 9 unit build going on currently. He has a single family home being built currently. In the last 3 weeks, he's acquired 2 properties he's going to fix and flip. And so
Dang.
far, he's usually doing 15 deals a month.
Dang.
But he has a couple kids, and his wife works, I think, I'm pretty sure. So he's back down to be more with the family, but still doing his general contracting because he does that too. And so the latest one, he needed about 75, and just found somebody that we've been having conversations with. And ironically, this individual knows my friend Rick, his mentor out in Oregon. And it's kind of funny because I'm like, yeah, my good friend Rick, he's been mentored by this gentleman out in Oregon. Really? I know him. He does really good work in land development. He has good product, and it's just kind of funny that, one person knows somebody that know or heard of from your friend or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I get little fees for connecting the two,
Yeah. That's awesome.
for them to help each other out. So
Cool.
that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something that I feel like a skill a lot of people don't have is like making those personal connections, which you're good at asking good questions and stuff that opens up people more, not just on like the surface, like digs a little deeper. And I feel like when people ask those questions, it makes you like feel trust them more or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's definitely a good skill
Well,
to have.
the biggest thing is having that courage to have those conversations.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people realize, well, I don't want to talk to that guy because it's that an area I don't feel comfortable in.
yeah,
We'll step out of that area and get the courage and break that mold and start doing it.
yeah. And a lot of times it's just saying like, "Hey, this is what I need." Like, and then when you say what you need, maybe someone has that thing, and they're like, "Hey," like in your case, people need money, and you're like, "Well, hey, I have some money." So it's like
Yeah,
this is going to help you start your business. The only reason that we know about this is that we said something slightly uncomfortable, and then
yeah,
something
exactly.
what's going on, and then you can help them while they help you. So it's cool how everything kind of works together.
It is. And the funny thing that you said, the uncomfortableness. Well,
Yeah,
that uncomfortableness is only a few seconds. Are
exactly.
people afraid of a few seconds of being uncomfortable? It'll
Yeah.
go away.
And then it takes that interaction from like a very surface level to all of a sudden now it's like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
it just, I don't know, it just brings you closer and
yeah.
opens up opportunities. So
It kind of opens up a different realm, I want to say.
yeah, definitely.
Instead of being on the surface, being topical, it's more, how should I say this? I guess coming from the heart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's more true and and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it up there. We're coming up on 40 minutes. So, Thomas, thank
Been
you so
40
much.
minutes already. Seems like 10.
I know it went fast. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It was cool to hear your story. Look forward to seeing where you're going and look forward to just being friends and staying in touch and stuff too. So I'm sure we can
Yeah,
help each
definitely,
other
Jared.
out.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for allowing me to participate on your podcast.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
honored and I had a good time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. How do I do this? I always forgot how to end it. There we go.